nearly 70 years, fans from across the world gather every February to witness more than a race. Every lap, every turn on the hallowed grounds of this beautiful abstract of a track tells a story of dreams that become reality for few and a nightmare for many. Hundreds of drivers around the world have sought out a dream to drive their car into uncharted territory in victory lane, to forever be known as a champion of the great American race. 43 drivers can say they have reached the pinnacle of stock car racing. Today, will we see decades of agony and defeat finally be paid off, the kickstart of a new career on the sport's biggest stage, or a common man be immortalized as a footnote among the legends that have been able to reach the summit? Today, 41 drivers have 500 miles of history that is waiting to be set into stone in front of a sold-out crowd. NASCAR and MDK RaceDay welcomes you to the Daytona International Speedway in Daytona Beach, Florida for the running of the 68th annual Daytona 500. And as you can see, the weather right now at the Daytona International Speedway is not looking the best at the moment. Temperature in the low 80s, 55% chance of rain, but a good amount of thunderstorms that's going to be scattered throughout the day. Wind gusts as high as 30 miles an hour, but on average will be 14 miles an hour south-southwest through the racetrack. And due to inclement weather, NASCAR has said that the race will be moved up an hour to 2:13 p.m. Eastern Time on Fox. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the first race day of 2026. And my name is Jed. Hope you're having a wonderful day. That is right. It is finally here, the Daytona 500, to kickstart, officially begin the 2026 NASCAR Cup season. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, so many storylines, so let's not waste any time and jump right into it to see who is starting where for the Great American Race. Busch, official beer of NASCAR, and proud sponsor of the Busch Light Pole Award given to the fastest driver at each NASCAR Cup Series event. Busch Light congratulates Kyle Busch for his 35th career Cup Series pole and his 751st career start. It's his second pole at Daytona, his first for the 500, and his first pole since Dover back in April of 2024. He wins pole with a speed of 183.651 miles per hour. Since 2020, Busch Beer has invested more than $50 million in being a premier sponsor of the NASCAR Cup Series. So here's a look at the starting lineup for the 68th running of the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. Like we said, Kyle Busch. This guy has done everything you could to win here in NASCAR. Two-time Cup champion, 63-time Cup Series winner. However, he still has not won the race that matters most. 0 for 21. This is his 22nd attempt to win the 500. Let's see if he can finally check the one box off his list. He is driving for a team that has a lot of success here in Daytona. But starting alongside Kyle Busch is a young driver, Chase Briscoe, in his sophomore season with Joe Gibbs Racing after making it to the championship for last year. This is his 6th attempt and is starting on the front row for the second year in a row with 2 top 5s with a best finish of 3rd in this race in 2022. Row 2, the winners of the dual races on Thursday. Joe Logano, 3-time Cup champion and the 2015 Daytona 500 winner, starting alongside Chase Elliott, the 2020 Cup Series champion, in his 11th attempt in this race. He finished 2nd here back in 2021. Row 3, Ryan Blaney, the 2023 Cup Series champion, in his 12th attempt. He has finished 2nd in this race twice, but is a 2-time Daytona Fall winner, starting alongside the always exciting Carson Hocevar in his 3rd attempt in the number 77 Chevrolet. Row 4, Austin Dillon, the 2018 Daytona 500 champion, started alongside Kyle Larson, the 2-time and defending champion of the series, in his 13th attempt. He has 4 top 10s and a best finish of 7th here in this race. Row 5, Brad Keselowski, the 2012 champion of the series, in his 17th attempt to win the Daytona 500. He has 2 top 5s with a best finish of 3rd in 2014, starting alongside the 2021 Daytona 500 champion, Michael McDowell. Row 6, John Hunter Nemechek, in his 4th attempt, has the best finish of all active drivers in the 500 with a 7.6. He has 2 top 10s and a best finish of 5th last year. Starting alongside Christopher Bell in his 7th attempt, he has 2 third-place finishes. Row 7 has Shane Van Gisbergen, 33rd in his only 500 appearance from New Zealand, starting alongside Josh Berry with a David Pearson throwback in the number 21 Ford in his 3rd 500 attempt. Row 8, Daniel Suarez, representing a new team, Inspire Motorsports, replacing Justin Haley in the number 7 Chevrolet in his 9th attempt with the best finish of 7th in 2023, starting alongside the 2023 Daytona 500 champion, the 47 Chevrolet, driven by Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Row 9 has Casey Mears, the mindset of put your foot on the gas and don't live until you see God or the checker flag. He didn't see God, did see the checker flag, but did storm his way into the Daytona 500 He has the best finish of second here back in 2006 in his 14th attempt, starting alongside the number 34 Loves Ford for Front Row Motorsports, Todd Gillen, in his 5th attempt. Ryan Preece, hopefully he can keep his 4 wheels on the ground this time around in his 7th appearance. The Clash winner finished 6th here back in 2021, starting alongside Ty Gibbs in his 4th attempt in the 500, looking for his first top 15 finish in the Great American Race. Row 11 has Alex Bowman in his 10th appearance. He has the best finish of second here in 2024, starting alongside the 3-time Daytona 500 champion Denny Hamlin in the 11 car. Row 12 has Cole Custer in his 5th 500 appearance, starting alongside Eric Jones in his 10th appearance, best finish of 3rd here in 2019, but did win his very first Cup race here at Daytona in the fall of 2018. Row 13, Noah Gragson in his 5th 500 appearance, finished 9th here 2 years ago, started alongside Tyler Reddick in his 8th appearance, and his first top 20 finish was 2nd here last year. Row 14 is his teammate Bubba Wallace in his 8th appearance of the 500, finished 2nd here twice, started alongside his 2311 teammate Riley Herbst in his 4th appearance, finished 10th here 3 years ago. Row 15 is another 2311 teammate Corey Heim, the 2025 Cup Series or Truck Series champion, I should say, making his Daytona 500 debut, starting alongside Zane Smith in his 4th appearance. Row 16 is a clash of generations. One represents the past, the other represents the future. Jimmy Johnson, the 7-time Cup Series champion, 2-time Daytona 500 champion, announced this week that this will be his second to last 500 appearance, as he will retire from Cup Series action following the 2027 Daytona 500, starring alongside the hottest driver in the sport in more than a decade, Connor Zilisch, the rookie, who won all those races in the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series last year, making his Daytona 500 debut in the Red Bull Chevrolet for Trackhouse. Row 17 is Cody Ware in his 6th 500 appearance, starting alongside Ty Dillon in his 10th appearance, finished 6th here in 2019. Row 18, AJ Allmendinger for Colleague in his 13th attempt, finished 3rd here twice, started alongside the 2022 Daytona 500 champion Austin Cindric in the 2 ride. Row 19, Ross Chastain in his 8th attempt in the 500 with 3 top 10s, started alongside BJ McLeod, who was out of the race for about 20 minutes, and then when Anthony Alfredo was disqualified following the duels on Thursday, he got back in and will compete in his 6th Daytona 500. Row 20, William Byron, who's won the last 2 Daytona 500s, trying to become the first driver in history to win 3 straight Daytona 500s, saw alongside Justin Allgaier for Junior Motorsports in his 4th attempt in the 500, finished 9th here last year, and rounding out the 41 car lineup for the 2026 Daytona 500, Chris Buescher for RFK Racing in his 11th appearance. He has 3 top 5 finishes with a best of 3rd in 2020. 4 drivers will be going to the rear following crashes in the duels on Thursday: Ross Chastain, Daniel Suarez, Chris Buescher, and William Byron. And finally, 4 drivers unfortunately did not make the field for the 500. Corey LaJoie in the 99, Anthony Alfredo, like we say, who got disqualified in the 62, Chandler Smith in the 36, and JJ Yeley all did not make the field for the 2026 Daytona 500. Now let's take a look at the odds to win the Daytona 500. Kyle Busch has the best odds right now, tied with the 3-time 500 champion Denny Hamlin at plus 900, Ryan Blaney and his Penske brother Joey Logano both at plus 1,000, Larson and teammate Elliott at 1,200, Byron at 1,400. Kind of surprised the 2-time defending champion doesn't have the best odds, but at plus 1,400, Cindric 1,800, Keselowski and Bell at 2,000. Briscoe and Wallace kind of surprised to see him this far down the order, 2,500 for Wallace, 2,200 for Briscoe, Dillon, Hocevar, and Priest also at 2,500, Bowman and Buescher at 2,800, with Reddick, Chastain, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. rounding out at plus 4,000. Okay, so what are the storylines in this Daytona 500? There are a lot of them. First off, weather. Like I said, the race gets moved up an hour. Will we be able to get a full race in? If not, we will race to halfway, lap 100. That is going to change the complexity of the race. That's going to change the aggression of the race depending on if rain is going to get here, and if so, could that affect how long we will race into this Daytona 500. Another thing that's going to, I think, maybe be underrated is a new points format. With the chase now on board, it's no longer a win and you're in, which will calm people down. I think calm the drivers down. It's like the win and you're in, you go from 35th to at least 16th, a lot of money. It's like you throwing meat into a tiger, or throwing a shark smelling blood. Now with a more consistent base points format, it's 1 out of 26. You have to be good from start to finish. Will that change how drivers race? Will they be not as aggressive, or Could they be more aggressive? Who knows? But I think that's an underrated aspect that I don't think many people are talking about, is that how will the drivers race with the new points format? It is Daytona, but it's still one of 26. It's no longer, in a way, one race. Couple things that we saw on Thursday I think we need to make note about. First off is Chevrolet and their new nose. Yes, we know that they're fast because they won the pole with Kyle Busch, but how will they deal with bump drafting, pushing in the corners? Now the snout, or the nose, on the new Chevrolet ZL1 is not as pointy as it was in last year's car. Will that change how drivers race when they compete against each other? Will that change how maybe Ford and Toyota drivers look at Chevrolet? Will they be more comfortable or not as comfortable? Another thing that I think we should also take a look at is pit road. What I saw in yesterday's O'Reilly Auto Parts race was that NASCAR was very reluctant to throw yellows. We saw many instances where we would think NASCAR would throw the caution, but let them race, which I think is a good thing, that NASCAR is taking a step back, let them race. But that also comes with more importance on pit road to not do what we saw on Thursday, Casey Mears butchering pit road, taking out Noah Gragson, because depending on how the situation might go, you could fumble pit road and NASCAR not throw the yellow. And if that's the case, depending on where you are, that could completely take yourself out of contention from having any shot at winning the race or getting stage points. Getting onto pit road with a group of cars, not by yourself, will be key. Connor Zilic should know a thing or two about that after he got left out to dry in his dual race on Thursday. So pit road is going to be a major player into not only who could get out in front in this Daytona 500, but who could potentially take themselves out. And then you have to look at the drivers involved. Brad Keselowski, 42 years of age, 1450, tried to win the 500, has a fast car. We know how good the Fords have been. Kyle Busch, 22nd, tried to win the 500. And speaking of the Fords, you have to look at them as the team or manufacturer to be. We saw how good they can be. We saw in the first dual race with RFK Racing, before everything kind of blew up in their face, how much they controlled the tempo. Now you throw in the 3 RFK cars, and you throw in now Team Penske with the 2, the 12, and the 22. How great they run well together. We saw that in last year's Super Speedway races, how good those 3 work together. With Austin Cindric winning the Spring Talladega, Ryan Blaney winning the Fall Daytona races. This is going to be a race where I think it's going to be kind of like what we saw, I believe, in 2019, where it's the Ford against Chevy and Toyota. I think Chevy and Toyota, I know Chevrolet, they got 2 more teams now with Rickwell Racing and Haas Factory Team. Really, like you look at maybe Hendrick Motorsports and RCR. That's really about it. You look at in terms of teams. Maybe Trackhouse, but I don't know. Chastain's not really that good of a super speedway racer. SVG, still brand new. Connor Zilic in his first race in the Daytona 500. I don't look at them as being drivers or a team to watch out for, but I see Hendrick, RCR, maybe potentially teaming up with Gibbs or 2311 Racing to try and stop the Ford domination of Penske and RFK Racing. And not to mention front row, Todd Gillen is pretty underrated when it comes to super speedway racing in this next-gen era. So yeah, it's going to be very interesting with the manufacturer loyalty. You have to look at fuel saving. That will be a factor. How long will that last? You know, with them just riding around for the first 2 stages, that is an annoying part. That's something we will have to deal with this 500. But outside of that, there's still a lot of factors, a lot of cool things to look at in terms of storylines heading into the Great American Race today. And now let's take a look at my Fantasy Live lineup. Now, this is something new we're bringing in for 2026. I'm announcing the MDK Racing Fantasy League. Head over to the Fantasy Hub on NASCAR.com and type in MDK Racing and join. Or I'll leave a link in the description and the comment section down below to join the Fantasy League. Put in your fantasy lineup. I will be showing the best of the best in turn for next week's episode. For example, I will show who had the most amount of points, who had the best lineup, and I'll show the standings of this league every single race I should say. So just another way to, for you guys to interact with me more, since you guys have done so much for me and help building this brand, building this series that we're doing that every single week. And hopefully we get every single race in. Not like last year, I missed the fall of Martinsville. Hopefully we get every single race going this year. But yeah, it's just another way of saying thank you for all the support you shown me over the years throughout this channel. And hopefully this is another way for us to get closer, to connect more, and for you guys to be part of the show more. And don't worry, Make the Call is coming back. It'll be back next week. But for my Fantasy Live lineup, let's take a look, shall we? It is random, but it's Daytona. There's a reason why it's random. But I got Ryan Blaney, then I got John Nemechek, because he does have the best average finish at a 7.6. His worst finish in the 500 is 11th. So I think the good luck will continue, at least for him. Then I got Austin Cindric, Bubba Wallace, Kyle Larson, and Chase Elliott. All four have had good super speedway records outside of Larson, but I feel like maybe he's starting to change a curve. I don't have William Byron because I feel like he used up all his luck winning back-to-back 500s. I don't trust having him in my lineup for a third great day in Daytona. But of those 6 drivers that I have, I got the guy with the most eloquent mustache in all of NASCAR, Ryan Blaney. Like I said, he's a 2-time winner at Daytona in the fall race. He's won at Talladega multiple times. He has been really fast in the 500, just hasn't had the records to go his way. I think that changed today. I got Ryan Blaney winning the Daytona 500. But what are your thoughts? What do you think is going to happen in this race? Let me know in the comment section down below. As always, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more content. Until next time, my name is Jeff from MDK. Thank you so much for watching. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the 2026 Daytona 500.